Good morning, Year 10. Sorry I'm not with you today, but I wanted to make this video for you so you can still do this lesson so we don't have to take any time away from the end of this unit where we could be revising for our exam. You should have got your new booklets this morning. So we're going to be going through this first lesson, area of composite figures. And this is a pretty good lesson, I guess, for you to not have me there because we're kind of just putting together everything we've learnt or reminded ourselves about last week. This is still a bit of revision for you guys. Something that's going to be really handy for you to have is all your area formulas. So hopefully you still also have last week's booklet that has all your area formulas in it because we're going to be using those area formulas again today. Let's jump into it for now. There is a couple of questions here to do as a daily review on areas of different shapes. We've got a triangle, a trapezium, and a circle and a sector. I would actually love for you guys to pause this video here and have a go at these without me giving you any input. We learned how to calculate all these areas last week. I'll give you the solutions after you unpause in case you are unsure of how to get them. Alright guys, thanks for having a go at those questions. On the screen right now you can see the solutions. The difficult part here really is just getting the correct formulas for the correct shapes. And remember, in your exam, you are going to have a formula sheet which is going to give you all of these formulas and show you an example of the shape that the formula belongs with. So that part hopefully is going to be quite easy for us in our exam. And once we know what formula to use, we just plug in the numbers and then put it in our calculator. Alright. I would like you to have a go at these two shapes, calculating their areas without any input yet from me. I'm going to work through a few of these with you, but before we jump into it, just want you to look at these two shapes and have a think about how you might go about calculating the area. Again, you can pause the video here while you do that. I'm going to show you the answers to these two, and then we'll go through some more in detail about how you actually get to these areas of composite shapes. So pause here, have a go at these. Solutions for you in a second. Alright guys, here we have the solutions. Hopefully you are able to get to something that looks like this. And basically the name of the game here is breaking the shape down into smaller shapes that we have an area formula for. And you can see I've highlighted here which formulas have gone with which part of the shape. And we've got the solutions there. I'm not going to go through these two in too much detail because we're going to just flip over to the next page and we'll go through some of these in a bit more detail. So you'll see here in the success criteria basically what I had done for those two diagnostic questions. We divided the shape into simple shapes. And the reason why we did that is so we could use the correct formula for each shape. And then once we knew what all the formulas were, we just added them together to find the area of the composite shape. So I'm going to actually work through these examples with you. You may be able to just like jump ahead and work all these out, and that's fine. Go ahead and do it. But if you want to just step through these examples with me, yeah, listen in. We're going to do that now. With a shape like this one, you've got a couple of options in how you break it up, but basically we want to just break it up into two rectangles. You can do it here and make one rectangle and two rectangles, or you could do it the other way and do it here. Doesn't really matter. I'm going to break it up like this into one rectangle here and one rectangle here. And now we know the two area formulas we need here. We need base times height of one rectangle, and we're going to add on base times height of another rectangle. But we have to do a little bit of thinking here because we know the base times height of the blue rectangle, but we don't know this distance here on the purple rectangle. We know the whole distance from top to bottom is 16 centimeters. And we know we've already accounted for 9 centimeters of it here. So this top bit has to be, hopefully you see, 7 centimeters. The whole thing has to add up to 16. You know this bit is 9. So that top bit has to be 7. And same thing along this side. We know this bit is 6. We know the whole thing has to be 14. So that means this has to be 8 centimeters. This is something that we are going to have to do a fair bit on these composite shapes. You might not be given exactly the measurements you need. You just have to consider the whole shape to figure out what you need. So now we can just fill in the area formula, 7 times 8 plus 14 times 9. That was my base and height of that rectangle and my base and height of that rectangle. Now, once you get to this phase of the question, you just put these numbers into your calculator exactly as we've written them. 7 times 8 plus 14 times 9. Here equals, and your calculator tells you the answer of 182 centimeters squared. We're still working in area, so we're still putting those square units on all our answers. All right, here's one that is slightly trickier because we have a different kind of shape. We have a triangle in this one. So the two area formulas we're going to need are half base times height for the triangle and base times height again for the rectangle. And again, we've got a little trap here where the height we need for our triangle is this distance here, but the height we're given is the whole thing. So we just need to subtract off this 2 that we don't need and recognize that this height is going to be 3. And that's going to be the thing that we're going to put into our triangle formula. Let's go for it. The base is 6. The height is 3. And then the rectangle is pretty straightforward. 2 times 6, 6 times 2. Again, once you get to this phase, exactly what we've written there goes into your calculator. And here equals, and your calculator tells you 21 units squared. We're not told the units. Now, the way this can get slightly more complicated is instead of adding areas, you could be asked to subtract them. So let me show you what I mean here. We have one circle that goes to the outside here with a radius of 6 meters. And then you have another circle on the inside here with a radius of 2 meters. Don't fall into this trap. The measurements that you're given here are the diameters. Don't forget to halve those. That's where the 2 and 6 came from, half of 4 and half of 12. Now, so what we do here is we calculate the area of the larger circle and we subtract the area of the circle in the middle. We won't always be using addition like we did up here on these composite areas. Sometimes we will have to take away something that we don't want, like in this case. But once we get to here, it's the same process as before. We put in our numbers, making sure we're subtracting the bigger we're starting with the bigger circle and we're subtracting the smaller circle. And this line again can go exactly in your calculator as it's written. Pi times 6 squared minus pi times 2 squared. And your calculator spits out the answer for you. I don't think we were told. We were told to leave our answer correct to the nearest whole number. So we'll round this one up to the nearest whole number, which is 101. Awesome. there are a few more examples going down this page. I don't want to step through all of these because we've already gone for quite a long time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just show you how I would break up these shapes. This first one in particular is a bit of a difficult one, but you can just do that. And then that breaks it into a triangle and a trapezium. And again, this one is already broken down for you. You've got half of a circle plus a triangle. This one here is possibly a bit more complicated. You've got the entire rectangle, and then you're going to subtract this half of a circle. So your formula here will look like the rectangle minus half of the semicircle. And I just realized you guys actually don't have a measurement here that you need. So let's make this 15 centimeters. And I'm going to let you have a go at this bottom one just completely on your own. After you finish this page, there's one more page of, these ones are much simpler. Be careful here in this second one, you're going to be subtracting these triangles. In this one, it's not an addition, it's a subtraction. Have a go at these. Get through as much as you can from page 5, and then you're back up to the front page for your textbook questions. There are 4 questions there for you to do in your books. Thanks guys, hopefully you go well with this lesson. If there are any questions, just bring them to me on Thursday, and I will hopefully see you then.